about to get started, so if everyone would grab a quick seat here.
Yeah, I'd love to show you. Okay. How's it going? Good to see you. Old school.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good.
It is hard to believe we're moving toward the latter parts of October, Parent-Teacher Conference Week, as we record this here from the District Administration Center. We want to welcome you to Coffee with the Community. My name is Dallas Ackerman. I'm the Director of Communications here in Liberty Public Schools, and a great opportunity each month for us to connect, present on a district topic, and we are very fortunate to have along with us several members of our academic services team here in Liberty Public Schools. Before I turn it over to them, though, quick reminder that coming up on Thursday, November the 9th, will be our next Coffee with the Community, and we are actually taking that on the road, as we just had confirmed that we will be at the Mid-Continent Library over in Woodneath. That is located just south of Shoal Creek Elementary. For those that have not been over there, they've been so kind to offer us that space on that morning. And we will have a long-range planning update. We will have Steve Anderson, our Chief Operations Officer there, along with Kevin Nelson from Hollis Miller, to provide us information on our long-range planning efforts. So we will look forward to that and hope everyone can make plans to join us then. And also, a quick reminder that this meeting is always recorded on our district's YouTube page. We'll push that out on all of our social media outlets, and we receive several hundred hits on that within the weeks following these meetings. So just a reminder for those that aren't able to attend these in person, we make that available each month through those outlets. So at this time, I'm going to introduce, there she is, Dr. Beth Heide. She is our Assistant Superintendent of Academic Services. So, Beth, glad to have you with us.
Thank you, Dallas. Thank you so much for being here today. Academic Services is so pleased to be able to share with you some of the exciting things that are happening in the Liberty schools. And I say some because there's so many that we could go on and on and on and talk about it. I would be amiss if I didn't thank the people that really have been so crucial in ensuring that our students are achieving at high rates, and definitely the community and the families that send your students to our schools, but also thank you so much to the educators every day who are making such a difference for our kids, and we could not do what we do without that. Today I'd like to introduce Christopher Hand, who will be speaking specifically about assessment and how that works with kids, but I think he's going to take you through a deeper dive and all the nuances that go into what that looks like and how we measure the success and growth of each and every student in Liberty Public Schools. So with that, thank you, Mr. Hand, for all your work in presenting today, and we look forward to hearing what you're going to say.
Thank you, Dr. Heide. I have a mic here on can everyone hear me? Okay, for recording, so just want to let you know. Everything that we're covering today, and I want to thank Dr. Heide again and our team, our academic services team, that really captured all of this work that I'm going to share with you today. Everything that we're going to discuss today is under Goal 1 for every student will graduate college and career ready. And all the data that I'm sharing with you actually comes from mostly public sources. So you can find these on the internet or in various areas. So Liberty Public Schools, City of Liberty, Missouri Comprehensive Data System, DESE, ACT, Family Connect, which is a program called Naviance that we use with parents to capture college career, Gallup polls for students, a system called Forecast 5 Analytics, and then some data from Stanford University, MARC, which is a Mid-America Regional Council, and KCADC, which is a Kansas City Area Development Council. So today, really, the focus of the data that we're gathering follows around college and career readiness and assessment for readiness, leadership experiences, transition beyond high school, and then progress towards post-high school credentials. So we'll be diving deeper into ACT information, but we'll also look at MAP information, as well as interest inventories of students, because we have to get to our students' head first before we can get to, we have to get to our students' heart first before we can get to their head. So we gather a lot of interest inventories on our students and what they are interested in order to gain that trust in the classroom. So a little bit about Liberty and where we are right now as a district. Right now, we are, as we know, a suburban school district, a district of about over 12,600 students. Liberty Public Schools in general, for employees, is the #1 employee in the Liberty area. At one time, we were voted by Family Circle as the best town for families. I would have to agree. I live here as well, and I have 3 students in the district, one at elementary, middle, and high school. And then at one time for CNN Money Magazine, we were the #7th place to live in the country and attend a public school system. So where do we fall, though, within the United States? So this actual scatter plot right here is every single school district across the United States in terms of social economic status, okay? So between here is above average within the group that you see, and Liberty is 1.2 grades above that average. And as you can see, the trend in which enrollment, which we saw last month, I believe, with Dr. Tucker and Coffee Community, is we're seeing a trend grow from 2002 to 2016 very quickly, but our social economic stance has dropped just a tiny bit over that time frame. And in terms of demographics and race and ethnicity, we have found from 2002 to 2016 that the makeup of our students has changed as well. You can see that the different ethnicities have grown during this time frame, as well as the percentage of different students that are white, black, Hispanic, and so on. So with that change comes also change in instruction, change in how we do programs, and change how we do business in general here. Another piece that Dr. Tucker talked about was the demographer view, as the number of students coming into our district has slightly started to go down. And we at Academic Services actually look at the kindergarten class versus births every year within our area. And we get this through something called Forecast 5 Analytics. And so it lets us know the percentage based upon how many births within our district and how many students actually enroll as kindergartners. So that helps us plan for future endeavors as well as materials, supplies, so on and so forth. So what does that mean altogether when we look past that? Well, right now, I can only show you and share with you 2014, 15, and 16 information because the brand new 2017 information in terms of achievement from the state is embargoed. So how we are measured, though, throughout the state is a piece called MSIP-5 standards, which actually measures academic achievement, subgroup achievement, college career readiness, attendance, and graduation rate. And as you can see, Liberty, when you add up all the points that we gather, has grown the last 3 years from 92.9% in 2014 to a current 98.2% in 2016. We are looking for another very strong score this year for 2017 when we find that number in November. But taking a look at that data in a different way, in terms of a graph, what we were able to do is take all the standards that we're measured from English language arts to subgroup English language arts to high school readiness and stack them to show clear growth within that time frame. As you can see, from 2013 to 2016, we have grown in those areas of scores, which means our students are growing within the scores of math, science, and reading. This is a slide I really like to show, and this is actually from Forecast 5 Analytics as well as our work within the Academic Services community. And what we do is we take the actual spending within the state of Missouri per pupil expenditures. And then we take the MSIP-5 score of what we achieved, okay? And we merge them together to see where do we land. So the average of what is spent by a school district on a student in the state of Missouri is $11,758.27. The average score in terms of MSIP-5 is 91%, that would be a lot, that would be huge. 91% average score for MSIP-5. And when you plot every district, and you can see they're kind of not shaded darker, they're lighter, this represents every district in the state of Missouri. Where you want to be is in quadrant 4. You want to be high achievement within your score, and you're spending below the average, okay? And you can see that Liberty is clearly there. And so your return on investment, our time, talent, and treasure that we give to our students is very clear. That we do a very good job of the money we use, but also do a wonderful job of how we use it towards student achievement and growth. Looking at the same type of scatter plot, but the Kansas City metro area, you can see the same thing. We're in the lower right quarter, the right quadrant right there, and you can see that we fiscally, it's a little bit different in the metro area, it's a little bit higher, 12,142 compared to the state. So how we measure how our students perform and how we perform as a system, we look at two pieces, growth and achievement. A more complete picture of student learning. And we have a motto at Academic Services, and it's pretty simple. Not every student can be proficient or advanced, but every student can grow. And we truly believe that. You should see growth every year within our students, and we see it every day when we walk through our buildings. And how do we gather that growth or progress? Well, we do it with multiple measures. Student portfolios, state tests, running records. We use something called effect sizes, where we compare two scores together to create an effect size, which equals growth. Curriculum levels. And we really have 3 points that we look at each time, and it is this. We strive to measure students in full and complete development. We understand that we need to get to a student's heart, like I said before we can get to their head. And then we understand that students' data, in our district data, is actually a flashlight towards improvement and not a hammer of accountability. So everything we look at in terms of data, we look at to improve what we do as a system. So the next 2 pieces of data I'm about to show you really follows along this scatter plot idea of 4 quadrants. When you look at the next set of data, achievement, meaning 0 to 100 on the score that students received, goes up and down. And from left to right is the growth score that we have. So how much do we grow over a 2-year period? The quadrants you want to be in is in the top right quadrant, so excelling, high achieving, or improving in quadrant 4. Okay? So when we look at our comparable districts, so we do something called a district scorecard, and within that district scorecard, what we do is we find districts that are most comparable to us using something called a Pew method. Okay? I'm not going to get into all of that because I've already gotten in a little too deep already, I can tell. But I get really excited about this stuff. So, but what we have is our comparable districts along here. We compare to them every 2 to 3 years. We change the list of people, but we compare them every year using a district scorecard. I took how we achieved altogether, or actually our academic services department took how we achieved altogether in 2015 in math, and then together in 2016, adding in all student scores. And then we created something called an effect size, which equals growth. And as you can see here with math, compared to all other districts, we are right here in that quadrant where we need to be. But that doesn't mean we just rest. We continue to move this direction higher and higher. English language arts, you can find the same piece of information. And again, we're right there on the improving area and going a little bit upwards. And what that really shows us is not only are we achieving high, but we're also growing. Those are the 2 pieces we were talking about before. So in our classrooms and our buildings, where all the magic happens every day, we really want our students to ask this question as they're growing in our school district and becoming college and career ready and wonderful members of our society. Where am I going? How am I doing? And where to next? Well, how do we capture some of this information to know if we're succeeding? One way we do this is through student interests. So in this data set I'm showing you right now, we actually asked 2 questions to our graduates over the last 2 years. If you are attending a college, what will you study? If you are entering the workforce, what are your interests? We gathered this data through Naviance, the Gallup poll, and ACT inventories, and we gathered them all together. And we have this Wordle. And within this Wordle, if the word is larger, that means more students answer the question in terms of engineering. Education, which speaks highly of our educational system if students want to go on to become educators after going through 12 years of working with us, or 13 years for pre-K. Nursing, marketing, biology, but we still have students that are undecided, and that's fine. We continue to grow and help them find their interests and where they want to go within college or career. We also ask questions through our pre-ACT results. So this is our current juniors right now. They answered this last spring. What are your educational plans? 3 years from now, 2 years from now. Majority of our students want to enter a four-year college or go to a graduate school of professional studies as of right now. So how do we support that? What do we do to support that? How do we help our buildings? How do our buildings help our students? Because that's what they're telling us. Another question we looked at was expressing a need for help. Our current juniors, again, who were sophomores last year when they answered the survey, they said the number one thing that they need help with is exploring options after high school. So we have worked with our high schools and our middle schools to really tackle that question because our students are saying they want more information about what's next for them. And that's very important. And this one I like is, what are your career interests? What do you want to do after high school? And a lot of our students are very interested in technical, science and technology, and that actually talks a lot about our community right now and all the things that are happening within Kansas City metro area. But also, we have students that are very interested in social services, administration, and sales. But when you look at this chart, the one thing you have to look at is that, for example, science and technology, the current students that said they're interested in that are sitting at a 20.6. Now, for them to go to a four-year university in the state of Missouri, we have to begin talking about a 22 as the composite that they have to have. So as we share this information at the high schools and the middle schools, they are currently using that information in data teams to change the work that they do, to use strategies to improve student outcomes. When our students leave us, where do they go to college specifically? Well, in the last 10 years, this is actually a map of where all of our students have gone to school in the last 10 years, all across the United States. But more specifically, where do they go in terms of the numbers total, where are the most popular destinations? Right here within the Midwest. That's nothing shocking, but it's something for our people to know. If a student is talking about going to the University of Arkansas, that is not foreign. We actually have a lot of students that attend there, and they attend William Jewell College and the University of Missouri, Kansas City. So real quick, diving into the ACT. We give the ACT test to juniors every April. All students are afforded that opportunity that are juniors. We give the pre-ACT to all sophomores and freshmen. And so we'll be getting those results for sophomores and freshmen very soon. So the pre-ACT information I'm going to show you is actually from last spring. What we'll be looking at is graduating class of 2017, so graduates that just left, our current seniors, how they're doing, and our current juniors, and how they performed. So real quick, our graduates last year that left us and are doing wonderful things, they scored a 21.4 compared to the state at a 20.4. Liberty High School scored a 21.5, and Liberty North High School scored a 21.3. Again, our goal at Academic Services is a 22, so we continue to strive and break down that information to look to hit that 22 as a composite. But we dive a little bit deeper and look at every single student, because every single student's data matters. So what we found is, I must have touched something here. There we go. There we go. This is the score range for ACT from a 36 to a 1. And yes, I guess you can score a 1 on the ACT. I didn't know that. I thought you could get a 7 for just putting your name on it, but I was wrong. That's why I got a 14. It's not a joke. Okay, so 36 to a 1. Right here represents the number of students and how they scored within each range. The bubble represents the majority of our students and where they fall when they score. The number across here, this piece, is the 22, our goal, right? What we're finding is we are landing each time between a 24 to a 16, which is normal amongst most districts. We're striving to move these bubbles up by helping students here and moving students up to the top. And so everything we focus on is to move those bubbles, specifically in those areas. Now, this is our current graduates. You're going to see a trend here. This is our current seniors, okay? And the bubbles here, again, in English actually range a little bit lower, from a 23 to a 13 or 15, You can see we have that 14% right there that's real close. So you can actually make that bubble a little bit wider. And then along here for math, reading, and science. But overall, we're finding that our students in the areas of reading and science, you can see they're doing a wonderful job of becoming prepared to be college and or career ready, which are the scores of either 18, 22, 22, or 22, which is pretty much saying they can do freshman level work when they get to college. This is our current juniors. Same concept with the bubbles, number of students. And what's wonderful about our systems here at Academic Services is each number that you see here, our teachers are able to capture that data in a system called Inform and pull that up immediately to find areas of intervention and growth within each student. So that's something that we do immediately at all times. But we know right now in our current juniors, we have scores of a 19 composite, 18, 20, 19.7 for STEM, and 16.9 for English. So again, right now as juniors, we are completely focusing on those areas to grow because they have in April again a chance to take the ACT. Okay, some other pieces real quick. We found within our current juniors right now, there was from our studies this summer with Liberty North High School and Liberty High School really diving into the data, we found there is an area of endurance during testing that our students are struggling with a little bit, particularly in the area of English. And if you've ever taken the ACT, the English area is very difficult. A lot of reading, a lot of critical thinking. And so during that time frame, we found that 10% of our students right now, which equals 88, have not completed the test. And so we dived a little bit deeper into that test, and especially into the math section. So this is math right now for statistics and probability. But what we found is when we look at the test, and so Dr. Adams and Dr. Jacobs and their teams came together to really do a data teams process to look at why are our students, 39% of them, answering the right question, but yet 18%, 15%, 14% are choosing a different question. And it allows us to look at our instruction of whether we're instructing at the proper depth of knowledge, we're hitting the right Bloom's level. And so really it's that data team process of looking at the results to improve. Moving a little bit further, advanced placement, AP testing for College Board. Our current results right now is that 71.4% of our AP examinees across the district at Liberty North High School earned a 3+, compared to the state average of 63. That's very, very good news. We continue to want to strive for more. So they're going to currently set a goal for a new goal for this. And then at Liberty High School, 70.9% of all AP examinees earned a 3+ or more, which is also higher than the 63. So we're seeing some really good growth in advanced courses, but what we want to see is more students in our advanced courses, more opportunities for students to get into advanced courses. So that's something we're working on right now with our both high schools to really look at that opportunity for our students. At the elementary and middle school level, we measure at the district level assessments from the state, Missouri assessment program, iReady, which is a diagnostic given to students, and it's adaptive, it's computer generated, from kindergarten all the way to 8th grade in the areas of math and reading. It's given 3 times a year, and it's instant feedback. You probably see this information during parent-teacher conferences, and they're used to create goals within your students throughout the year. So it's a wonderful program that we use. Lexia is really improving students' reading capacity. And you see it mostly at the kindergarten through 4th grade level. But what we do see within Lexia is having the program is that our teachers use it to modify instruction in the classroom in terms of reading and reading groups that we use. And then finally, NWEA, which is our science test that we give. Since we will not be receiving science scores this year from the state, we are using this test to actually find out where we can improve in the area of science. So really quick, now that we don't have 2017 app data, I can show you at least 2015-16 data, and I want to show you in terms of growth how we are doing. So really this takes below basic in the red, basic, proficient, and advanced, and how our students are doing together in a grade level. So this is 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, and so on in the areas of English. As you can see, each year as a grade level, you see growth. But as students, so for example, this year, 15, and then they move 16, right, to 4th grade, you can see the bars are bigger, which means growth. math, similar. So that growth is slow and steady, but some people say that slow and steady wins the race, but we want to continue to have every student grow. That is our most important thing that we do here. In science, we've actually seen a small dip within Biology 1. That's something that we've talked about, and also 8th grade, we've seen a flat trend line. So in the end, after showing all this information, at Academic Services, what we want to let our whole community know is that we need all of us together to create a strong triangle of learning. We need teachers, parents and community, and students to help us raise achievement. Us together knowing this information and working together can do that, can make it happen for our students. And through doing that, we use the principles of learning. And Academic Services talks about a lot of different ways that students learn. In your building, teachers understand that students learn in different time frames. Mistakes are necessary and productive in learning. Students must have ownership in their learning and data. So if you want to help your child, make sure you know their data. Make sure they own their data and they know it. Students receive frequent and specific feedback. That's something you will see in our buildings throughout. We see it in walkthroughs, data consults. Just walking through in terms of parent-teacher conferences this week, you've gotten specific feedback, timely. Continue to strive for that as a parent. And with that, that is the presentation. But I do want to point out two things that have come from Academic Services, and one is we have posters up at the high schools right now, so if you walk around, you'll see these awesome posters about College and Career Ready is, I have options, and I have a plan. And this is a really wonderful poster because my son actually pointed it out the other day, and he doesn't have a plan yet, but he does have options. Another piece I wanted to point out real fast is that we have a new website as well. And within that website, if I can get there, Academic Services can be found here. So if you want the most updated information about what is happening in Academic Services, district data, assessment and testing, curriculum, you can find it here on our district website. Any questions? Dr. Tucker, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Mr. Hand.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
I think it's timely in that we are having this presentation the same week as the end of first quarter and parent-teacher conferences. So thank you to Dr. Heidi and the entire Academic Services team for all of the work that they have done in preparation for the school year, but certainly as we've been rolling along with 17-18 school year. A couple things I want to add to Mr. Hand's presentation, and that's to give you a little bit of an added perspective, kind of switching to the state as well as to the federal level, in that we work oftentimes at the local level, and that's what we see day in and day out. At the state level, we know that this has been a journey as we've transitioned to the Missouri Learning Standards, as we look to a new MSIP, which is our accreditation system, but then also kind of have our sights set on what the next level of assessment looks like. And so everything that you've seen this morning, all of the work that you hear from teachers and what goes on in the classroom, the story that students come home and tell, is really all in line with kind of the efforts that are taking place at the state level. Oftentimes in Liberty, we are leaned upon to help steer that work taking place in Missouri. And so we feel very fortunate that our Academic Services team, our teachers, our departments are leaned on oftentimes to kind of pave the way. And we look forward to continuing that. We could not do this work without all of the students that we have, all of our amazing faculty and staff, but then certainly the support and the high expectations of our community. As Mr. Ackerman mentioned earlier, we look forward to reconnecting with you in November. On November 9th, our next Coffee with the Community event will be held at Woodneath Library. Our topic will be long-range planning as we look to wrap up that process and provide some feedback on where we're at, but then also look at a potential bond issue as we look to the spring semester. So thank you all for being here and look forward to connecting with you along the way. Have a great rest of the fall.